So in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 big lessons, game-changing lessons, life-changing lessons from this book. So let's crack in. And I promise you, this book is mind-blowing. There are some things in this book which have completely changed the way I view myself, the way I view motivation, the way I view procrastination, and it ties in with everything I'm saying on this channel. So I'm absolutely delighted to find this book. I read it from front to back within a couple of days so quickly because I was indistractable, as the book says, as the book teaches. So I really hope you stick around and watch the whole video because I promise this book is a game changer. So anyway, let's get into these 3 big lessons I'm going to give you from this book. Absolute mind-blowing lessons. Lesson 1, all motivation is simply just pain avoidance. So in the book he talks about how we've discovered recently that motivation isn't carrot and stick, it's mostly stick. It's mostly moving away from pain. Everything we're doing is to get away from pain. Even pursuing pleasure is to get away from pain. It's because we don't want to feel something. Most people think motivation is about feeling ready, but motivation is really about escaping discomfort. Every time you procrastinate, you're avoiding a feeling, not the task. Your brain wants relief, not progress. So it pushes you towards anything that removes tension. Boredom, fear, and doubt create internal pressure. Distraction releases that pressure instantly. This makes distraction feel rewarding, even when it destroys your momentum. Your phone isn't the enemy. The problem is not wanting to face the feeling. When a task feels heavy or unclear, your mind panics. It sends you searching for an emotional exit. That exit becomes your habit. Your identity gets shaped around escape. You start to believe you're lazy, but really, you're just avoiding pain. Pain isn't a problem. Pain is a signal. It tells you where the growth is. It tells you what part of you needs attention. Even when we think we're seeking pleasure, we're actually driven by the desire to free ourselves from the pain of wanting. So the book is called Indistractable, and his goal is to get you to focus, or more accurately, stick on a task and then notice when you get distracted. And he says we have 2 types of triggers, external triggers being the environment, the pings, the dings and the rings, as he says, or these internal triggers. And it's actually these internal triggers like shame, feelings of anxiety, feelings of this pressure, this nervous energy that we don't want to feel. And it's that energy that is actually motivating all of us. And it's because we don't want to feel that energy. The more you avoid the feeling, the more powerful it becomes. Avoidance trains your mind to fear discomfort. But when you sit with the discomfort, everything changes. You break the cycle instantly. The urge to escape weakens when you face it directly. Your mind stops seeing the feeling as dangerous. Even selfless acts like helping someone are motivated by our need to escape feelings of guilt and injustice. Motivation returns the moment you stop resisting the emotion because there's nothing left to run from. Your work stops being a threat. It becomes neutral again. When you understand your pain, distraction collapses. It has nothing to attach to. If this is the type of content that's helping you, share this video, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and put this video out there. Help the algorithm out, because I believe there's some content in this video which really would change a lot of people's lives. Anyways, back to the video. Most people don't want to acknowledge the uncomfortable truth that distraction is always an unhealthy escape from reality. Simply put, the drive to relieve discomfort is the root cause of all our behavior, while everything else is a proximate cause. So that realization really hit home. I look at my life and I think who I am has just been this one giant goal or mission to not feel anything and just avoid pain. And when I look at it, even going to the gym or starting boxing was motivated initially because I felt weak. I wanted to prove myself. All of these motivators were to avoid some kind of insecurity. Lesson 2, external triggers are not the problem. Everyone blames external triggers for distraction, but the real war is happening inside your mind and body. These are called internal triggers. Notifications don't create distraction. They only activate the discomfort already inside you. If you removed every app from your phone, you would still get distracted because the source isn't the phone, it's the feeling. Internal triggers are emotions you don't want to deal with. Boredom, fear, loneliness, uncertainty, self-doubt. These feelings create pressure. Your mind looks for a fast escape. Distraction becomes the relief, not the pleasure, the relief. Most people try to control their environment, but they never learn to understand their internal state. Turning off notifications is useful, but it will never fix the root cause. If the inside is chaotic, you can't fix an internal problem with an external solution. The moment you feel discomfort, your brain moves into escape mode. Anything becomes more appealing than staying with the feeling. This is why you scroll even when you don't want to. The distraction is soothing something deeper. So this was a game changer for me. It made me realize how often that I'm not doing the thing I said I would do. You know, his whole gig is to help people do what you said you would do. So you have two distractions then, internal or external. And we all think it's the external distractions. But it isn't. It's this not wanting to feel whatever is inside of us. The internal distractions, the internal triggers. And tying in with everything I've learned over the last 2 years, especially with parts work, is that what is it we don't want to feel? And what he says in the book is to change your temperament and change your relationship with these internal triggers, is to understand them, is to get curious about them in the moment, and then you build a different relationship with them. And one of the most powerful things you can do is ask yourself, is this feeling happening for me or to me? This feeling of loneliness or anxiety, it's trying to tell me something. It's not against me. But if you sit with it, you just be with it and feel it and experience it and notice what is pulling you towards, which is probably not wanting to be focused or concentrate on something. What it's pulling you towards is not wanting to be with it because you have a secret resistance to it. That's why we autopilot to distraction. We go to places in our heads, or we reach for the snacks, or we watch TV, Netflix all night, because we don't want to feel what's inside. Once you see the pattern, you start to understand yourself. Your distractions reveal your pain. Every distraction has an emotion behind it. Find the emotion and you take back control. You don't need more discipline. You need awareness. When you name the feeling, it loses power. When you ignore it, it grows. Sit with the discomfort for a moment. You will feel the urge weaken. This is how you become truly indistractable, by mastering your inner world, not figuring out the outer one. Your attention becomes yours again, not hijacked by unexamined emotions. Internal triggers don't disappear, but you stop being controlled by them. When you understand the feeling, distraction collapses because there's nothing left to escape. In my life, since reading this, I quickly see when I'm not doing the thing I said I would do, when I'm getting distracted. The superpower is to stay on task, to do the thing we said we would do. He also has a really cool idea on not doing to-do lists, but time boxing and having a set time and not getting distracted. But you will get distracted. He says you will get distracted. But the key is to always come back to focus, always come back to the thing you said you would do. But you start to notice what is distracting you, and then you see the pattern. And when you see the pattern, that's growth, that's awareness. You're creating that separation. Another really cool idea he takes in the book is from acceptance and commitment therapy, which is understanding that these emotions are trying to pull us, and what reactance and psychological reactance actually is. It's that spring back effect. Because we're telling ourselves, don't eat the cookie, don't eat the cookie, don't eat the cookie. Another really cool part of the book is it ties in with what James Clear says in Atomic Habits about identity, and how if you become someone who's indistractable, then you don't get knocked off course because you're reinforcing the identity of someone that always comes back. You will get knocked off. You will get distracted. What's important is that you get back up. You get back on the horse. You become indistractable. And you see yourself as indistractable. So you reinforce that identity. And I thought that was absolutely genius. So let's crack on. Lesson 3. Lesson 3, identity. Our perception of who we are changes what we do. The way we think of ourselves also has a profound impact on how we deal with distractions and unintended behaviors. A published study in the Journal of Consumer Research tested the words people use when facing temptation. During the experiment, one group was instructed to use the words "I can't" when considering unhealthy food choices, while the other group used "I don't." At the end of the study, participants were offered either a chocolate bar or granola bar to thank them for their time. Nearly twice as many people in the I don't group picked the healthier option on their way out the door. The authors of the study attributed this difference to the psychological empowerment that comes with saying I don't rather than I can't. Lesson 3. The power of an indistractable identity. One of the most counterintuitive lessons from Indistractable is that distraction is tied to identity. You act according to who you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who always gets distracted, your brain will follow that script. Identity becomes a self-fulfilling loop. But if you start seeing yourself as someone who is indistractable, your actions change. You begin living up to that identity. We don't rise to our goals, we fall to the level of our identity. Who you believe you are sets your limits. When you shift your identity, your behavior shifts automatically. Choices become easier because they fit your new self-image. Identity is powerful because it bypasses motivation. You simply do what that version of you would do. I'm indistractable is not a mantra. It's a standard. It's a filter that guides every decision you make. Your old identity pulls you back into distraction. Your new identity pulls you into focus. This shift is not about perfection. It's about commitment to a new internal story. So the example he uses in the book is that a Muslim has the identity of someone that doesn't drink. So you would never be able to tempt a Muslim to be able to drink. It's just such a solid identity. So he sees himself as somebody that doesn't drink. That's who he is. In the same way that you can develop this I am indistractable identity, then when you fall off, when you get distracted, which you will, you can always remind yourself, I'm somebody that doesn't get distracted. I'm somebody that's indistractable. I'm focused. And you can apply this to a lot in your life. But then what you're doing, and as he says in the book again, which is genius, it reinforces that identity. It creates this anti-fragile loop. It creates this feedback system. Because then every time that you fall off and come back, it doesn't matter if you fall off, because you will get distracted, you will procrastinate, you will find things that you think are better to do, you will snack, you come back every time. And what happens is, you see yourself as somebody that always gets up, you come back, you're like the boxer that just won't stay down. You get up every single time. And you see yourself that way. And that's the most powerful thing and that is such a powerful lesson. Identity is strengthened through evidence. Small wins prove you are becoming the person you claim to be. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the indistractable identity. Every time you avoid a task, you reinforce the old one. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the indistractable identity. Every time you avoid a task, you reinforce the old one. Your brain prefers consistency with identity more than comfort. This is why identity change is the ultimate leverage point. When you see yourself as indistractable, distractions feel like they don't belong to you. They become out of character. Identity makes the right choice feel natural. It stops feeling like effort. You no longer rely on willpower. You rely on alignment with who you are becoming. This shift is subtle but life-changing. It turns focus into a default, not a fight. Your identity becomes the anchor in the moment of discomfort. Distraction loses its power. This is what you fall back on, because everything else will be just surface level tricks and hacks. But your identity is truly who you are, and it's how you view yourself. Every day you're carrying your identity with you. And it's not until you realize this that you realize that you're just reinforcing this old identity all the time. Now it's time to reinforce a new identity. But the key is, this is so key, is that you're not hard on yourself because you fall off. You have to get back on. That's all. And that's the power of this. You'll make so much more progress because you come back to focus. And most of success is just staying consistent. But the reason that people aren't consistent is because they get distracted. You don't need to be perfect to hold in this identity. You don't need to be perfect to hold this identity. You only need to return to it. Every day becomes a chance to strengthen the new story. You become the man who follows through. Identity is the foundation of being truly indistractable. When the identity is strong, the behavior becomes effortless. Okay guys, so I recommend go out, get this book. It's incredible. I mean, there's so much more in here that I could really go into, but I just thought I'd give the 3 most powerful lessons that I read this book from front to back and I just went through it again and just started taking notes. It's a game changer. Anyway, I really hope that helps. If you are interested in coaching with me, then book a free call. We can go into these root causes of your distractions, these internal triggers. Where are they coming from? Give them new meaning, give you new tools to overcome them. And if you enjoyed this video, go to this video here. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.